Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Sustainable Health live chat, formerly known as Auntie Sue's Pandemic Kitchen. So I'm Susan, and I am going to be teaching you all tonight a body scan, which is a routine or ritual that you can do every day to gain to practice gratitude and to connect to the conscious universe and to calm down. So I am going to now open up to the gallery and we'll take a look at everybody. I've got a couple of new people with us today. So we've got Carol and Peter, and then we've been chatting for a while with Tamer, who's incognito as Lois, and Roberta, and me, and then over in the new corner there, that is my brother Harold with the beard, and my sister-in-law Kay without one. So, although I think you have one as your icon on your phone, on your Facebook and stuff. It's a cartoon figure. So, anyway, so I have been doing this body scan almost every day because I always do it when I'm in the shower or when I'm putting on lotion and stuff. So it really lends itself well to doing that in the shower or in the, so I'll do it a number of times. And I learned it first from Grandmaster Nan Lu, Dr. Lu, who taught it at one of the, I guess, I don't remember whether it was, I think he taught it at some deep dives and some various other retreats that I went on with him. And what it does is it follows the meridians of acupuncture, the traditional Chinese meridians. So what you're doing is taking the energy basically and smoothing it. So when we look at this kind of energy medicine, we're looking at treatment from a quantum level. We're looking at energy equals matter at the speed of light squared. The speed of light squared is a constant. That's the speed that we're traveling, I think, if I understand correctly, and if there's a physicist around, please correct me. But when we have the Big Bang, everything's got set in motion. And that motion is the speed of light squared. So it's a constant. So energy and matter are the same thing, essentially, with that formula that Albert Einstein gave us. So this is how people understand energy medicine working, and you'll see this kind of treatment in Reiki, which is again working with the energy fields, with the energy meridians. There's a number of treatment things that work this way. Acupuncture and acupressure and shiatsu massage all work on the meridians. So they are working not only with the energy channels, but also with various pressure points and acupuncture points that over the period of 5,000 years that they've been practicing traditional Chinese medicine, they have found these points actually connect and do some pretty amazing things. So that they work so well, in fact, that even if you teach a Western medicine practitioner or you teach somebody just a specific point, it will actually work. You don't need to give them the whole theory behind it. So what we'll be talking about today is a little bit of the 5-element theory, which is what underlies that, and what I have used in the book Sustainable Health that I wrote as well. So what we're going to do is follow those meridians. So Ayurvedic medicine, which is from India, also as old as Chinese medicine, it works with the chakras, which is, again, moving energy, and they have some forms of meridians, but I'm not familiar with those as well. But I do know that almost every indigenous healing tradition does use energy and moves energy in this way. So what, does anybody have any questions? That's where we should start. Anybody got any questions so far? Or? All right, and how many people were able to download the handouts? You can still get them, but okay, yay. All right, Carol. So in the book, I have the body scan in the book. And one of the things the first time after the book was published and I went to one of Dr. Liu's, he taught this in was a conference that he used to do, East-West Conference. And I realized that I had gotten it wrong in the book, which is typical of any traditional indigenous tradition. You always mess up one thing. So that way, you know, people can't inadvertently use it the wrong way. That's the rationale I gave myself. But actually, I started with fire energy coming from the heart, and that's what it says in the book. But what he said is we're starting actually with lung point 1, which is right here, lung point 1 and 2. So we start there and we take the energy and we move it around our body. First, we move it down to our thumb, then back up to our arm. Then we come around the back. We come back here. If you could get your hands to touch, so much the better. I can't quite do that, but if you keep doing this, you'll get better. You'll get stretched. So this is a stretch as well as moving the energy. And then you come down around the back, and then you go up over the head. And this is when I shampoo my hair. I can do that. I can stimulate those. Then I'm going to come down and I'm going to release the energy over my eyes. Then transfer it a little here, bring it down out to the ears, over the ears, back to the mouth. And then we start coming down the body. We're going to go over all the movements. I'm just giving you an overview to start. So and you come all the way down here and up the back as far as you can reach. And of course, I can't see myself, but you come all the way down to the feet. Then you're going to do the toes. I think I didn't move the screen. I'll move it around and back up to the stomach. And that's, and those are basically the movements. And each one of these energy meridians that resonates has with an element from the 5 elements that are present on the earth, which is earth energy, of course, which is the energy of the dirt and the plants and us and everything that is not plant on planet Earth. Then we have wood energy, which is all the plants. We have water energy, all the water. Metal energy, which is all the metals, but also stardust. So you'll see on the handout, it says you start with stardust. So stardust is actually where all the elements in our earth that have combined and recombined, everything on the periodic table with the exception of a couple of elements, everything on the periodic table, it came from stardust. So we're composed of stardust. Isn't that nice? And all the food we eat is stardust too. So that's kind of fun. Sometimes I tell children they're eating stardust. Doesn't always work to make them eat something they don't want to eat, but at least they're intrigued by the idea. So, and then that's the metal energy. And then lastly, we have fire energy, which is actually the original energy. That's the energy of the Big Bang. That's the energy of life itself. So, and we have a left side of our body and a right side of our body. And the left side of the body resonates with yin energy, which is what I call fem energy, and yang energy, which I call butch energy. So we have the yin and the yang energy, and that also resonates with organs. So I'm going to have everybody start with the movements. Okay, and I'll just talk you through the movements and then we'll talk about what they mean. I think if I move this way, I can back up and stay in the screen. At least that worked when I practiced. All but my feet, that's good enough. So we're gonna start with the right hand on the left. You can all follow along, and there's really good handouts. I hope they're really good anyway. I spent all day working on them. So, but they have the directions. So you can start with your right right hand on your left, right here, upper lung portion, and you're going to go slide it right down your arm to your thumb. Okay, that's metal energy. Okay, so you have metal energy, and then you're going to slide over the side of the arm, actually better this way, so you can come around to the back of your neck and meet your other arm, which is then going to come up to the front. The left is going to come up, and it's going to slide down to the thumb, then around to the back, and then we have both hands behind our neck. And that's when we're going to go up and over our head and massage these eyebrows. You hold so much tension here, at least I do, maybe not everybody, but I hold so much tension here. And when I pull my hands over that, I can feel that tension release. So I'm going to release that tension, and then little tapping down here, that stimulates the earth energy. So we've got all this wood energy here, little bit of earth energy here, and then we're going to come down our nose and out to the ear. That's some metal energy is coming here around the ear, which is water energy. And then we're going to come back to our lips, which is fire energy. And fire energy, and then we're going to come down the chin. Now we're into water energy, and we're going to stay with that water energy. We're going to come down here and up the back as high as you can reach. And this is a really good stretch. It's nice to do it in a warm shower. All the way down to our heels. Can you hear me when I have my back turned? Let me get my speaker. So we're all the way down to our heels. Then you're going to turn around and get your toes. Now, you may not yet be able to stretch all the way down. Feel free to bend your knees or bring your foot up. You can always do that also. Bring your foot up. Let's see if I can. Okay, and I have my socks on, but if I didn't have my socks on, I would go on each toe. Dr. Lou said you want to touch every part of your body with this, each toe, and then start to come up the inside of my leg. So if I'm standing, as I was over here, let's see if I can get this set up. And okay, so I come down, I do all my toes, then I come up the inside of my legs all the way here. And if you've got extra tension, or you're angry, or those kinds of things, doing a little tapping on this part of the thigh is always good. But you want to come up, 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 and then we hit earth energy, and that's where we want to root the wood energy. We had wood energy coming up, and we want to ground it and root it here. So one of the problems when our wood energy doesn't get well grounded here in the earth energy is that that's what in traditional Chinese medicine is the cause of reflux. So so it's a sort of an interesting different way of looking at things. So do we have any other questions about any of that? Fran, I can't see you. She's another one. She's actually Fran, but going as Carol's iPad. So she's coming into us from Tucson, and I have everybody on mute still. So does anybody want to ask a question? You can raise your hand and I'll unmute you, or you can unmute yourself. No questions? All right, now I'm going to run through each one of those things, and and you can follow along with me, or some of this is in the directions. Most of it's in the directions. So what we're doing with this is we're smoothing the energy. So it doesn't matter whether you're healthy, whether you're not healthy. To do this every day is to smooth that energy and to make it louder. then we're gonna smooth that energy. So as we're smoothing that energy, and you want to do it in a loving way, you want to do it in a loving way every day, because that is how we move the energy. You can do tapping like this if you want, but I think this caressing of the body, and especially works really well when, so I can soap up, like this, and do the whole thing, wash my hair, go down, then I can rinse off the same way, rinse off, okay? Then towel off the same way and put lotion on the same pattern. I use that same pattern for everything, and that is one of the ways sort of it would be considered like a preventative maintenance sort of a thing within traditional Chinese medicine. So now I'm going to run through how that would work with and I'll talk about the elements and the organs and the body parts that are associated. So we've got our, just move back and forth. So we're starting here in the stardust, okay? And we are bringing our metal, that's metal energy, and it's coming down the arm. Now, metal energy is going to resonate with the lungs on the left side of the body. That's lung energy. Metal energy is also always skin energy. It's also always our sense of smell. Well, we're going to get to that when we get to the face. Anyhow, so it's the skin, and also, of course, so it's the skin. Then we're going to come down here, and that's fire energy. And on this side of the body, that fire energy resonates with the heart as well as the blood vessels. Okay, so then we come here. Now we're going to grab a little bit of that energy to come back over here to the metal energy. Okay, and now we're thinking more of metal energy, like the metal that's in the ground, the metal that's actually on the planet Earth. So we've got that metal energy, but we're bringing it down. Now we're bringing it down to the left side, right side of our body is the large intestine or colon. So again, so if you've got problems with any of these areas, again, think about, of that, you can, sort of if they enter into your mind or if you think about them. So we're going to bring that down the skin. And of course, we're going through the arm and the thumb. And then we're going to take the fire energy. And on this side of the body, it is our small intestine or our guts. If you need more guts, pay attention to this part of the body. And then we're going to come to the back and we're going to go up. Okay, and this is the wood energy. Okay, so wood energy is going to relate to our liver on the left side of the body and our gallbladder on the right side of the body. And if you don't have a gallbladder, it's okay, because you have a spiritual gallbladder that never leaves you. So you do the wood energy here. Now we're going to do our eyebrows. Okay, we're going to do our eyebrows, and that's our sense of sight, which is very much related to wood energy. And then we come down here to the earth energy, which is our sense of touch, our ability to feel, because usually the first thing a baby does is puts things in their mouth. They touch things with their lips. So that's the lips energy. And then we're going to come down to our nose and our sense of smell, our ears, our sense of hearing. And then we come down to the water energy, or we come to the lips and the tongue, which is fire energy. And then we go into the water energy and begin coming down. Now, the water energy relates to our kidneys, our bladder. So kidneys on the left, bladder on the right. And although we have kidneys on both sides, so both hands, just like with the lungs. So we're coming down like this, and we're gonna go up, we're gonna go up to the back because the water energy actually runs all the way down the neck and back. So it's gonna go all the way down to the heels. Okay, so that is kidney and bladder energy. And for men in particular, this relates to men's sexual organs and sexual functions. So again, this back can be really important there. Then we're going to come back around to the front where we actually are picking up a little earth energy, a lot of wood energy. And let me flip that down a little bit. So we're coming all the way up with that wood energy, which is again liver and gallbladder, as well as vision and our tendons. So sprains and strains, that's that wood energy. Bones and teeth is our water energy. And that's the sequence. And then we come in and end in the earth, grounding in the stomach, which is earth energy, stomach and spleen. Any questions so far? You've got one, Carol?
Yeah. So I heard you mention you do this in the shower, you do this when you dry, and you do this when you lotion, right? So
Right.
that's already 3 times. Is that for a reason, or just because you practice it at,
Just because you really can't do it too much. I mean, you could if you got obsessive with it, but yeah, but generally, so I just do it because, it's a repetition, but there's not a number of times that you have to repeat it.
Cool.
So sometimes I just do it and I'm not really thinking about it. But if I'm really conscious about it, that's when I, can really be thinking about it. So now I'm going to run through it one more time, and I'm going to add the gratitude piece because this is making the connections. So you may, in the beginning, I did a lot more conscious connection. Now, sometimes I don't always think about it, but I always, I've done it enough times that it's sort of like, stuck in my brain, stuck in my consciousness. But if I really want to get more benefit from it, I always get more benefit if I stay conscious with it. And because we're going through the skin, and, we talked, I think, in one of the other live chats and in some of the postings that I put, is that metal energy, which is the season. The season's about to end at the end of this month, and we're going to be moving into winter. But autumn is waning here. But grief is the emotion that resonates with autumn as we say goodbye to the leaves and goodbye to the summer and goodbye to loved ones, whether they, were died during the fall or not. But we say there's a lot of goodbyes that happen, a lot of grief that happens in the fall. And one of the things that we can mitigate grief with is with gratitude. And gratitude's a habit. Gratitude is something you have to spend some time with. It doesn't always come so easy, but when we can access gratitude, it will mitigate both grief and anxiety both. And they've done some very interesting studies that show that people do better with depression and anxiety. They did a blind study, I think, or they did a study with, they've done a number of studies, but one of them was with African-American men who you would not think would be the best treated by woo-woo, but they did better with the gratitude list than they did with the antidepressants and the anti-anxiety medication. So this is a powerful practice when you do it. So I'm going to start again, and this time we're going to talk about the gratitude. So I'm starting here, my hand is over that long point, and I'm going to bring my hand down. I'm going to be thinking about how grateful I am about my lungs. They take the air in and out, and also my shoulder, You know, so if you've got some shoulder issues, you know, and remember this part of your hand is your fire energy. This is where you connect to the whole of the conscious universe. So you've got that energy and you're bringing it in and down through that. If you've got some tennis elbow or something, this is a good time to be grateful for those elbows that work. And if you've got thumb issues, again, we're going to be grateful to this arm that does so much for us, particularly those thumbs. You know, the dogs really miss thumbs. And then we have the fire energy coming down the other side here. Okay. That's our heart, which beats, you know, we don't have to tell it anything. It just does it. Going it back again over the elbow, over the back of the shoulder, coming up around and down. Now we're going to be thankful for our large intestine that gets rid of all the food that we don't want, sends it out the back door. And then again, the elbow, the wrist, the thumb, and then we get into the fire energy. Now we're going to be thankful for our guts, our small intestine absorbs all the nutrients of our food. We're going to bring that energy back up, be thankful for our elbow, our shoulder, all those wonderful joints that we have. And then we're going to cross our hands over and come up, the wood energy and all that vitality that, you know, this is great for the hair follicles. There's also water energy in there. Water, hair is more water, I think. But we got to get we're stimulating all that wood energy and being grateful for all the vitality that we have and bring it down. And now we're going to release some stress. All right. We've seen too many things, but we can see even more. So we're going to be grateful to those eyes, all right, that are doing so much for us. And then grateful to our sense of touch and our ability to do those kinds of things. Our nose and our sense of smell, I'm going to bring that energy out. Our ears and our sense of hearing, back to our lips and our ability to love. And then down into the water energy. And we're going to be grateful for our neck and for our underarms where we sweat, get rid of toxins. Up the back, we have that spine. Our spine is so important. It supports us. It holds us up. If you've got a low back pain, which a lot of people have, you might want to spend a little time just keeping those hands there, feeling that warmth, sending that warmth energy, that fire energy into the low back. And then over the buttocks, be grateful that you can jump and climb and go up and down stairs. That's what your buttocks is doing. And also pads when you sleep. Then down the back of the thigh. Again, really important set of muscles in there. And we have the kidneys under the low back area there too. We want to be grateful for them. And down, and for our bladders. And for all of that, so kind of come down, all the bones, these long bones that support our body. Then the toes, which are really important for connecting us to the earth and keeping us stable. Each toe, don't neglect your little toes. They all need a little love every day in the shower. Okay, so love them up a little bit, because they are connecting you to the earth. They're part of your balance system, all those things. Then coming up the thigh with that wood energy. Again, that vitality that we have, and the tendons that are so important for connecting our muscles. And then we come up into the earth energy, which is the muscles, and we're grateful for them. We're also grateful for our stomach that takes in all the food that we eat, good, bad, or indifferent. It takes it all in, it churns it all up and sends it on down the line. And that's the body scan. And that's how I do my gratitude with my body scan. So I invite you to try it out. See if you get if you notice any health changes. There are certainly people who heal strictly by that. Reiki is, of course, a wonderful way to do that, and it's also fairly easy to learn. I've never taken classes, but from in our congregation, Winterflower, I know, is a Reiki practitioner, and that's, again, a level of skill that you get with practice. So that then is the body scan. So I'm going to let you unmute yourselves, and any questions or comments about the body scan or any other kinds of sustainable health questions you might have. Carol, did you unmute? Did you have something?
I did. I just think it's wonderful how you are able to express like how the body works for the energy, you know, what area of the body it addresses. I'm just going to work on remembering that a little bit, and I feel good. It feels
Excellent.
nice. It feels really nice, you know, because I really don't have a question per se. I think it's really fascinating. Thank you.
Excellent. Good. I was going to say I'm going to get to you, Roberta. I just wanted to, but I don't want to lose this thought. One of the things that we have become in Western medicine so dependent, it's like we don't know we feel like we don't know what's happening with our bodies. And one of the big lessons that I got from Master Lou, Grandmaster Lou, Dr. Lou, was that we know our bodies if we take the time, and this is one of the ways to learn our body is to take the time. We should never be surprised about anything that happens in the doctor's office, anything that they tell us. If we are paying attention to our body, we not only have the power to not be surprised, but we have the power to actually change what's going on, because we have this amazing system of neurotransmitters, and the way, you know, when we think something, it changes the chemicals that our brain produces and our body produces through the hormones, and that has a tremendously healing, or it can make you sick or make you well. And so it's really important to have that consciousness. Roberta, you had something.
I just wanted to say how much love you showed for yourself while you were doing that. And that's a lovely thing. Just it's self-loving to do that.
It is very self-loving.
Very self-loving.
That's really important. And I can tell you that when I began this practice, I wasn't doing all that well in my emotional life at the time. And one of the things that Dr. Lou taught was to do this. Well, this can turn into abusive. And that's one of the reasons why I do this. It can be very stimulating, but you have to be doing it in a loving way. And I wasn't always in such a loving frame of reference at that time. But over the years, and since I switched to this, and really, you know, it gives you a chance to find if you've got any kind of skin eruptions, you can feel the pain. If you're really tuning in, you know, to what parts of your bodies in terms of your organs and stuff, little twinges and stuff. We've been educated by our medical system to not trust our own judgment and only to trust that of our medical providers, which I think is a shame. I began my work as a health professional during the self-help, 70s. And I have always been about self-help, and that's also something that most occupational therapists have always been about, right? Fran, who's hiding as Carol's iPad, she would agree probably, because she's another occupational therapist.
Yes. Hello, everybody.
So, all right, anybody else have any questions or comments? Tamer.
I was just curious.
Huh?
Yes, masquerading as. I was just curious. You accentuated going between the toes and all of that, but you didn't accentuate going between the fingers.
Right. Good point, because I do that also. Sometimes I'll bring my fingers out this way as I'm doing it, and that way I am getting the fingers. So that's
Okay.
how I
I
get
was-
the fingers. But you can
I
do
was
them
curious on
individually
that.
too. And if you've got a painful finger, you know, again, holding on to it, you know, we want to make contact with this part of our body. When we lay on hands, it's this part of our hand that's the most important piece, whether we're making physical contact or whether, because we've got this concavity here, actually energy can collect there. And, you know, I've been in one of the other techniques that is used by a number of therapists, craniosacral therapy. I took a wonderful workshop with a guy, and he actually had us, you know, feel that energy, physical therapist, and he was actually talking about that. And so you can sort of play with that energy, feeling it in your hands. You have to, you know, sort of still your mind and let your, you know, we've been taught that none of this exists, and yet 5,000 years of traditional Chinese medicine would put that to, you know, that's what they've been using. That's what Ayurveda's been using. That's what all of the Native American healers and other indigenous healers from around the world all use that kind of energy. And so but sometimes we have to, you know, put away our little Western mind and be open to that possibility. But the fingers are good. Yeah, open. There you go, Tina. So, any other comments or questions or?
I want to answer a question if it's okay.
Sure.
I hope it's not out of. So we started in stardust, right? We started in stardust, which is a metal energy, from what I'm gathering.
Yeah,
And then
stardust.
we came down, and we went down, and you mentioned about the metal to the ground. I felt like I was.
So we have this, I think in the directions, I think I put it, but so we have stardust coming down, and then we have the fire energy of the sun. Okay, the constant sun. I mean, it goes away at night, but it's always there. I was just listening to somebody this week say that, and in Chinese mythology, this is true too. The sun is female, the moon is male, because the sun is always there, and the moon comes and goes. And
That's very funny.
and I heard it actually on the Glorias. I was watching the Glorias movie, and she was talking to Wilma Mankiller, was one of the first women chiefs. She was the first woman chief in the Cherokee Nation, modern Cherokee Nation. And she mentioned that. And I know in traditional Chinese medicine, the sun is a goddess and the moon is a god. They're actually brother and sister in traditional Chinese mythology. But in our Western culture, the sun is generally considered male and the female, the moon. And because the moon is so important in regulating the menstrual cycle, which menstrual comes from moon as well, this is where that happens. But basically they can be either, you know, like all the elements are trans, essentially. Gender non-binary, gender non-conforming, trans. They are all trans. They all flip back and forth. You look at them in one culture, they're one way. You look at them in another culture, they're the other way. So you get to choose their pronouns, basically, in your body. So, and that's one of the things that I really like. And that's why I usually use butch for yang and femme for yin, because again, we're talking about an energy and not necessarily, you know, and it's a shifting energy. It's not a necessarily finite material kind of a thing. So back to the stardust. So we've got the stardust and the sunshine coming down here. Then we've got the metals from the earth. Most of them are hidden in the earth, and they come down. And then we have the fire that we make as people, and all the other energy that we produce. You know, so this is sort of this side, the right side of the body tends to be all of that active, what we've created kind of stuff. So we've got the metals, tools and stuff. You can think about your fancy tool that you like. You know, if you have a favorite tool, it's usually metal. So, you know, whether it's a pen, whether it's a knife, whether it's a chainsaw, it's going to be, you know, metal, and then coming down the fire and the energy that we produce and make.
Thank you.
So then we come back here and we're coming with the wood energy, which is all the trees and plants. And then each one of these, so we've got the wood energy here, the earth energy here, the metal energy here. And this is another powerful little massage that you can do for breathing. I don't know, Dr. Lou, and I don't know whether he got it from his grandmaster or whether he just did it, but he said you just take your thumb and you move it around in a circle, not up and down, but in a circle. Can help with breathing. And then you come out with the metal energy, then the water energy, and the water can be everything from snow, rain, mist, fog, oceans, rivers, streams. And then we come down, and again, that water, basically that water energy is about life force. It's also about genetics. And we all know that, you know, whether it's the plants or the mushrooms, which are really more of the earth energy, water, you know, if things are dry, they don't live. That's what we've learned, you know, with these viruses too, they need water. So this is why it's important to, you know, if you have a surface that's porous, like cloth, it dries out very rapidly and doesn't allow the virus to live, or at least the COVID virus lives very short amount of time, longer than the AIDS virus, which dies almost instantaneously without without water, without moisture. But on a smooth surface, on a plastic, on a non-porous surface, the moisture is held onto a little bit longer. And so these are, you know, that moisture is the water energy is a life giver. All of the elements have their own life-giving properties. So then we do the water, and then coming up the wood, which is always that upward energy, and we want to ground it right at the stomach. We want to keep it down. We don't want it to go up any higher than that. So again, and when I was writing that book, Sustainable Health, I was a little tense while I was trying to make my deadline. And so my shoulders were coming up, and I was working on the keyboard, and I was getting really tense, and I started getting bad heartburn. It took me about a year to write that book, and it took me about a year to get rid of the neck pain and shoulder pain and the reflux. So this is also the thing, you know, how long did it take you to get this? It's not going to go away necessarily overnight. So when you want to make the longer term healing changes, you got to give yourself time. And, you know, so this is really good. So if you just did this, it would take you longer. But as soon as we put that gratitude practice in, we're shooting some energy into that, and it's now more powerful. And also when you put the lotions on, the lotions may have healing properties from herbs. We were at Pickles Potions, and she certainly had a lot of nice stuff. Tamer made me a wonderful shea butter and herbal lotion that I have used. It's got a little bit of a texture in it, which is kind of nice too. Again, that's another stimulation. So each one, you know, so if you take the movement and you add the intention, and then you add the herbal properties, which also have their own essence, you've now layered your healing, and you're going to get a better result, which is one of the reasons why I like to put the intention in the movement and make that intention. So oftentimes when I'm doing exercises, rather than count, I'll say a prayer, which is, you know, a rote prayer. So it has its own meter and its own time sense. And again, but that puts the intention in. This is sort of one of the techniques I've learned over the years to do self-healing, to do self-help. So this was a departure for us to do a ritual kind of thing like this. I don't think we've really done anything like this. How was it for people? Is this a good experience? You want more of this kind of stuff? Well, who was that? You, Carol? Somebody just came.
I was a trainer, and then it was me.
Oh,
It's
okay.
very relaxing. I'd like to. I'm looking forward to doing it again soon, like in the morning or.
Yeah, it's a great. I incorporated it into my you know, into whenever I take a shower, whenever I take a bath. And now it's almost automatic, you know, now it's so automatic that I have to take a minute to think of the intention. Otherwise I'm just, you know, I just like got the whole thing down. I can whistle through it. So any other, but you need to not whistle through it especially if you're having aches and pains, you want to be thinking about it and being gratitude. And it's this time in all of our lives is a time of high anxiety because of Kay's gonna go take a shower now. Okay, bye. But there's so much going on, and we're really living in you know, we're really moving very quickly into that water energy, the unknown. And not knowing what the outcome is going to be with the pandemic, not knowing what the outcome is going to be with the election. I think all this stuff is tremendously draining, because fear is the most draining emotion that we have. So it's really important, if you put some energy in, take that time to love yourself and put that energy in. And we'll be talking more about fear and faith, which is like, we have grief and gratitude is the habit that mitigates grief. We'll be talking about fear and faith, and it's going to be coinciding with this election week. So hang on. We're going to be getting into the fun house.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
And the more you laugh, the better it is.
Good.
So
Thank you,
Any other-
Susan.
you're welcome. Any other comments or anything?
That's great.
Questions? It was really good to see all of you, and I will welcome you. I'll welcome you next time on the Sustainable Health Live Chat in 2 weeks. And we'll be interviewing the neighborhood angel who lives in my neighborhood and does a lot with decluttering and picking up trash. So I hope you'll join us then.